Charles Munger has spent nearly a century watching people chase money, and he learned something that most of them never figure out. You don't have to be brilliant to become financially free. You don't have to invent something, win the lottery, or have a high-paying job. Munger has seen teachers, mechanics, and small business owners, ordinary people, quietly build lives of complete independence. They all did it the same way, according to Munger, by thinking clearly while everyone else was acting foolish. Most people believe freedom belongs to the rich. They think they need a miracle or a massive salary to get there. But Munger has watched plenty of people earn a lot and still stay broke. He has also observed others who earn modestly and retire completely free. The difference, Munger insisted, isn't luck or intelligence, it's behavior, it's patience, it's rationality. Financial freedom, according to Munger, isn't about how much you make. It's about how you think about what you make. It's about controlling your habits before they control you, and letting compounding do the work you cannot. When people hear the phrase financial freedom, Munger noted, they picture yachts, mansions, and private jets. But that's not freedom, that's maintenance. It's more stress, more debt, and more dependence. Real freedom, Munger taught, has nothing to do with luxury. It's about control. It's about waking up in the morning and doing what you want when you want with people you respect, without worrying about money. Munger learned that truth a long time ago. Growing up in Omaha during the Great Depression, Munger saw people who had very little yet lived with peace of mind. They didn't have big houses or fancy cars. What they had was independence. They didn't owe anyone, and they didn't spend more than they earned. Because of that, nobody could tell them what to do. That's real wealth, according to Munger. The middle class often misses this point entirely. They chase comfort, not control. They think if they just earn a little more or buy nicer things, they'll finally feel free. But they don't, Munger explained. The bills grow with their income. The debt piles up, and the golden handcuffs tighten. They end up working harder just to keep what they already have, calling that security. But if you can't afford to stop working, Munger warned, you're not free, you're trapped. Munger has always believed that freedom begins when your money starts working harder than you do. It doesn't take millions to reach that point, according to Munger, just consistency. If you save and invest early, even small amounts, compounding does most of the work. It's quiet, slow, and boring. But so is real success, Munger insisted. The world loves excitement, and that's why most people never reach independence. They confuse activity with achievement. When you build wealth the right way, according to Munger, your life gradually shifts from obligation to choice. You stop asking, can I afford this? And start asking, do I want this? That's freedom. It's not about escaping work. It's about being able to choose meaningful work. Munger has worked his entire life, but never because he had to. That's the difference. The truth is, Munger taught, financial freedom isn't measured in dollars. It's measured in time. If you can live for a year without worrying about money, you're already wealthier than most. If you can live for 10 years, you're practically untouchable. According to Munger, freedom grows every time you increase the distance between your lifestyle and your income. That distance is where independence lives, Munger explained. So before you chase more income, build more control. Before you seek a higher salary, build better habits. Because freedom, Munger insisted, isn't a finish line you reach. It's a mindset you practice. The average person, Munger observed, doesn't need more money to be free. They just need to stop trading all of it for comfort, approval, and stuff that doesn't last. Most people never achieve financial freedom, not because they're lazy, but because they're trapped in systems they don't question. They work, they spend, they repeat. And the worst part, Munger noted, is they think that's what life is supposed to look like. They confuse survival with success. Munger has met countless people over the years who earn good money but never have any. They buy the things they've been told symbolize achievement, the house, the car, the vacations, and end up chained to them. They call it living well, but what they've really done, according to Munger, is build a cage that looks comfortable. Their income rises, but their expenses chase it like a shadow. That's why Munger always says, it's not how much you make that matters. It's how much you keep and what you do with what you keep. The truth is, Munger explained, most people stay trapped because they live on autopilot. They've been conditioned to consume. Every advertisement, every piece of financial advice from people who profit off them tells them to buy, borrow, and spend. The result is predictable. The average person spends decades working for things that depreciate and then wonders why they can't stop working. Consider the story of Roberto Silveira, a man from São Paulo who discovered Munger's teachings about the trap of consumption. Roberto was earning a good salary as an engineer, but he was spending every penny. His house consumed half his income. His car consumed another significant portion. His lifestyle, restaurants, travel, designer clothes, consumed what little remained. Roberto felt successful because he looked successful. His apartment was beautiful, his car was luxurious, his wardrobe was impressive. But beneath the surface he was enslaved. He couldn't stop working, he couldn't take risks, he couldn't change careers because his lifestyle had become a prison that required constant feeding. One day, Roberto encountered Munger's writings about financial freedom. Munger had written that true freedom comes not from having more, but from needing less. Munger explained that every purchase is a chain that binds you to your current situation. Roberto experienced a moment of clarity. He realized he wasn't free at all. He was trapped in a gilded cage of his own making. Roberto made a radical decision. He sold his luxury apartment and moved to a modest neighborhood. He sold his expensive car and bought a reliable used one. He simplified his wardrobe. He cut his restaurant spending dramatically. His friends thought he had gone crazy. They couldn't understand how someone would voluntarily downgrade his lifestyle. But Roberto understood something they didn't. He understood Munger's principle. The less you need, the freer you become. Within 1 year of these changes, Roberto had accumulated substantial savings. Within 2 years, he had paid off all his debt. Within 3 years, he had built enough invested capital that he could afford to work less. He took a position teaching part-time while building a consulting business on the side. Roberto learned through his own painful experience what Munger had taught. Freedom isn't about having luxury, it's about having options. When Munger was young, he saw this pattern early. People would talk about getting ahead, but their habits never matched their goals. They'd buy what they didn't need with money they didn't have to impress people they didn't even like, and then they'd call it normal. Munger never wanted that kind of normal. Fear plays a big part in the trap too, according to Munger. People are afraid to be different. They're afraid to miss out. They're afraid to look cheap. But if you want freedom, Munger insisted, you have to be willing to think independently, even when it makes you unpopular. Munger learned that lesson the hard way. The crowd is usually wrong, especially when it comes to money. Another reason people stay trapped, Munger observed, is they think too short-term. They make decisions for the weekend instead of the decade. They value comfort today more than peace tomorrow. But every comfort you buy now comes with a price, and the price is time. Time you'll spend later trying to earn it back. The people who break free, according to Munger, aren't necessarily smarter. They're just more aware. They understand how the system works and refuse to play by its rules. They know every dollar they keep and invest is a small act of rebellion, a quiet step toward independence. Munger has spent a lifetime studying behavior. The truth, he insists, is simple. People don't need more income. They need more clarity. You can't save what you can't see. You can't grow what you don't control. You'll never be free until you stop living the way the world expects and start thinking for yourself. If there's one lesson Munger wishes every young person understood, it's this. Saving early is far more powerful than earning more later. Time is the friend of the disciplined and the enemy of the impatient. Munger has seen people make millions and end up broke because they didn't respect compounding. He has also seen ordinary people, teachers, store owners, engineers, become financially free because they started saving early and never stopped. When Munger was young, he didn't have much, but he always understood the power of keeping a little. Every dollar he didn't spend was a seed, according to Munger. If you give a seed enough time, Munger taught, it becomes a tree. The problem is most people want fruit before they've even planted anything. They can't stand waiting. They think saving is boring because it is, Munger acknowledged. But boring works. Compounding doesn't reward excitement, it rewards patience. You don't have to save huge amounts to change your future, Munger insisted. You just have to start early and be consistent. A person who saves $100 a month from age 20, according to Munger, will end up wealthier than someone who starts saving $500 a month at age 35. The difference isn't the amount, Munger explained. It's the time. That's what people never seem to grasp. When you save, Munger taught, you're not depriving yourself. You're buying freedom. Every dollar you save buys you a little more control over your future. It's a small piece of independence. The middle class sees saving as sacrifice, Munger noted, but he sees it as strategy. The ability to live slightly below your means, Munger insisted, is a superpower in a world obsessed with appearances. Munger has always said that the first $100,000 is the hardest. It's true, he explained, because that's where discipline is tested. Once you reach that point, compounding starts doing the heavy lifting. It feels like nothing is happening for years. Then suddenly everything happens at once. But you'll never experience that moment, Munger warned, if you can't get through the slow part. The years of saving small amounts and feeling like it doesn't matter. Munger has seen people in their 20s who thought they had all the time in the world, and people in their 50s who said, I wish I'd started earlier. You can always make more money, Munger taught, but you can't make more time. Every year you wait, compounding loses some of its magic. Consider Mariana Costa, a young woman from Rio de Janeiro who understood Munger's principle about starting early. Mariana was earning a modest salary as a teacher when she read Munger's work on compounding. She realized she didn't need to wait until she was wealthy to start investing. She could start now even with a small amount. Mariana committed to saving 100 reals per month and investing it in low-cost index funds. Her friends thought she was crazy. Why tie up money for decades when she could enjoy it now? But Mariana understood Munger's principle. The earliest investment is more powerful than the largest late investment. 20 years later, when Mariana was in her mid-40s, something extraordinary happened. Her small monthly contributions had grown to over 500,000 reals through the power of compounding. More importantly, she had achieved financial independence. She could afford to work less, to choose teaching assignments that brought her joy, to take time off without anxiety. Mariana didn't become wealthy through a high salary. She became wealthy through consistent early investing. She lived through her own experience what Munger had taught. The power of compounding is so great that even small early investments dwarf large late investments. Saving early, Munger taught, doesn't just build wealth, it builds character. It teaches patience, restraint, and the ability to delay gratification. Those habits serve you far beyond money, according to Munger. Financial freedom isn't built in sudden bursts. It's built in quiet, consistent steps. Start small, stay steady. Let time and compounding do the work, Munger advised. Because one day, if you do it right, your money will start earning while you sleep. That's when freedom truly begins, Munger insisted. If there's one principle that separates the financially free from everyone else, according to Munger, it's living below your means. It sounds simple, almost too simple, but very few people actually do it, Munger observed. Most people don't want to look poor, even for a little while. That's exactly why they stay poor for a very long time, Munger explained. When Munger was young, he didn't care much about appearances. He cared about control. He saw too many people who looked successful, but were quietly drowning in debt. They had nice clothes, new cars, and big houses, all financed. They were owned by their lifestyle. Munger decided early that he'd rather be free than impressive, and that decision, he insisted, changes everything. The world will constantly tempt you to spend more, according to Munger. The minute you start earning a little extra, people will tell you that you deserve it. Buy something nice, upgrade, enjoy life. That's how most people stay stuck, Munger explained. Every time their income rises, their expenses rise right alongside it. They never build the gap that leads to freedom. Living below your means, according to Munger, isn't deprivation. It's leverage. It's how you create that space where compounding can start working for you. It's how you build savings, investments, and eventually independence, Munger taught. Every dollar you don't spend is a dollar that keeps working for you in the background. That's the quiet truth that the world doesn't advertise, Munger noted. Munger has always admired people who can live simply, not because they have to, but because they choose to. Simplicity shows strength, Munger explained. It means you're not controlled by desire or by what other people think of you. It's a form of self-respect, the kind that doesn't depend on approval. Munger and Warren Buffett have both lived by this idea. Neither of them needed fancy houses or flashy cars. They were never interested in showing off. They were interested in building something that would last while others were spending to look rich. They were letting compounding quietly make them rich. People often confuse wealth with lifestyle, according to Munger, but they're opposites. Lifestyle is what you spend, Munger taught. Wealth is what you keep. Most people want the feeling of wealth, not the reality of it. Feelings are expensive, Munger noted. The truth is, Munger insisted, you can't build freedom if you're busy upgrading your life every time you make progress. The real game, according to Munger, is to increase income while keeping your lifestyle the same. Do that for 10 years, and you'll have more freedom than 99% of people you know, Munger promised. The middle class works hard, but spends harder, Munger observed. The wealthy work patiently and save quietly. One group lives for the weekend, the other builds for decades. The formula isn't complicated, Munger explained. It's just hard to follow in a world addicted to display. If you can learn to live below your means, not out of fear but out of strategy, Munger advised, you'll find that wealth isn't about having more, it's about needing less. That's where real freedom begins, according to Munger. One of the most important financial lessons Munger ever learned is this. If you want to get ahead in life, stop trying to be brilliant and start focusing on avoiding stupidity. Munger has spent a lifetime telling people this and they still don't believe him, but it's the truth, Munger insisted. You don't need to do extraordinary things to become financially free, Munger taught. You just need to avoid doing the dumb things that everyone else calls normal. People love to complicate money, according to Munger. They chase exotic investments, time the markets, and make risky bets they barely understand. They'll spend months studying opportunities and 5 minutes reading their own credit card statements. That's not intelligence, Munger explained. That's ego pretending to be effort. The most successful people Munger knows got there by doing simple things and consistently avoiding mistakes. When Munger was young, he realized there were 2 ways to succeed. You could be really smart, or you could avoid being stupid. The second one's much easier, Munger noted. He's always preferred the path of least resistance. Avoid debt, avoid envy, avoid lifestyle inflation, avoid speculation, avoid overconfidence. Each one of those things, Munger taught, can ruin you faster than intelligence can save you. Munger has seen geniuses go broke chasing shortcuts. He has also seen ordinary people build quiet fortunes by staying rational. The difference wasn't knowledge, Munger explained. It was temperament. The intelligent man wants to prove he's right, according to Munger. The rational man just wants to survive. Survival in compounding and in life, Munger insisted, is the foundation of freedom. Money is a funny thing, Munger noted. It rewards consistency and punishes impulsiveness. The market doesn't care how smart you are, Munger explained. It only cares how patient you can be. The same applies to your personal finances. If you avoid the big mistakes, overspending, debt, greed, impatience, you automatically put yourself ahead of most people, according to Munger. It's not about playing perfectly, Munger explained. It's about avoiding ruin. Munger and Warren Buffett have built their entire philosophy on that principle. We've never tried to be the smartest in the room, according to Munger. We just try not to do dumb things. Over decades, that approach compounds. The world is full of people trying to do brilliant things, Munger observed. Very few are trying not to blow up. Financial freedom doesn't require genius-level investing, Munger taught. It requires self-control. If you can resist the temptation to follow the crowd, Munger explained, if you can stay calm while everyone else panics, and if you can avoid letting emotion guide your money, you'll win slowly maybe, but surely. Munger has always believed success is more about subtraction than addition. You don't need to add brilliance, Munger taught. Just subtract mistakes. Eliminate stupidity, and what's left is wisdom. It's not glamorous, but it works. So don't try to outsmart the system, Munger advised. Just refuse to be its victim. You'll be amazed how far not doing stupid things will take you. In fact, Munger noted, it's taken him all the way to financial freedom. And he didn't have to be brilliant to get there. If you ask Munger what separates those who become financially free from those who never do, he'd say one word: patience. Not intelligence, not opportunity, not luck. Patience. The ability to wait quietly while compounding does its slow, invisible work. That's the hardest thing in the world for most people to do, Munger explained. We live in a culture that worships speed. People want fast money, fast success, fast results. But wealth doesn't work that way, according to Munger. It moves at the pace of discipline, not desire. It grows like a tree, not like a fire. It takes years of doing the same boring things, saving, investing, staying rational, before the results start to show. And most people quit long before that happens, Munger noted. When Munger was younger, he realized something important. Everyone wants the rewards of compounding, but no one wants to wait for them. They plant the seed and dig it up every week to check if it's growing. That's why most people never build wealth, according to Munger. They interrupt the process that would have made them rich. Patience is a rare kind of intelligence, Munger taught. It's the understanding that time, not talent, is the ultimate multiplier. Every dollar you leave alone, every investment you let sit, every impulse you resist, all of it adds up, according to Munger. But the returns come slowly. Then suddenly you can't rush nature. And compounding is nature disguised as finance. Munger has watched people panic when the market falls and get greedy when it rises. Both reactions come from the same flaw: impatience. They can't stand not doing something. But often, Munger explained, the smartest move is no move at all. Munger and Warren Buffett have made more money by sitting still than most people make by trading, according to Munger. Inactivity isn't laziness, Munger insisted. It's discipline. It's the confidence to let time do the heavy lifting. Patience doesn't just apply to investing, Munger taught. It applies to life. The person who can wait without losing focus will always outperform the person who can't sit still. That's why Munger says it's not supposed to be easy. Anyone who finds it easy is stupid, he joked. Building wealth, wisdom, or character, it's all the same process, according to Munger. Slow, steady, and painfully simple. The average person fails not because they make bad decisions, Munger explained, but because they make good ones inconsistently. They start saving, then stop. They invest, then panic. They plan, then chase distractions. If they simply waited, truly waited, their future would look completely different, according to Munger. Patience feels like doing nothing, Munger noted, but it's actually the most productive thing you can do. Because when you let compounding work, time becomes your employee. It never stops working, not even while you sleep. Consider Fernando Alves, a successful businessman from Belo Horizonte, who learned Munger's lesson about patience. Fernando had built a profitable business and accumulated significant wealth, but he made a critical mistake. He couldn't sit still. Every few months he'd see a new opportunity and chase it. He'd buy companies impulsively. He'd enter markets he didn't understand. He'd trade his portfolio constantly, always feeling the need to act. Fernando confused activity with progress, exactly as Munger warned. Within 5 years, through constant interference and impulsive decisions, Fernando had destroyed what it took him 15 years to build. One day, Fernando read Munger's teachings on patience and compounding. Munger had written that some of the biggest mistakes in his life came from action, not inaction. Munger had learned that patience and sitting still were forms of discipline. Fernando experienced a moment of profound realization. He understood that his constant activity hadn't created wealth, it had destroyed it. Fernando made a commitment to change. He stopped trading his portfolio. He stopped chasing new opportunities. He focused on his core business and let his investments sit. Within a few years, something remarkable happened. His business thrived because he stopped diluting his focus. His investments compounded peacefully in the background. His wealth grew not from action, but from patience. Fernando learned through his own expensive education what Munger had taught. The big money isn't in the buying and selling, it's in the waiting. The rewards of patience, Fernando discovered, are worth far more than the excitement of activity. So if you want to be free, Munger advised, stop rushing. Slow down. Let the boring years pass because the slow years are the ones that make the fast years possible. That's how ordinary people quietly become extraordinary over time. You can't become financially free, according to Munger, until you understand how money actually works. The irony is most people who spend their entire lives earning money never take the time to study it. They learn how to work for money, but not how to make money work for them, Munger noted. That's like spending your whole life driving a car without ever learning how the engine runs. When Munger was young, he realized that money is just a tool, a very powerful one, but also a very dangerous one if you don't understand it. Munger didn't have a degree in finance when he started learning. He just read, thought, and observed. He watched how people behaved with money. He saw how fear and greed controlled their decisions. He promised himself he wouldn't fall into those traps. The first lesson Munger learned is that money flows toward competence. The better you are at understanding how the world works, Munger taught, the more valuable you become. That's why Munger tells people to become lifelong learners. Read broadly. Business, psychology, history, economics, Munger advised. The more models you collect, the better your decisions will be. Wealth is built through good judgment, according to Munger. Good judgment comes from understanding reality accurately. The second lesson Munger learned is that money rewards patience and punishes emotion. Most people don't lose money because they're unlucky, Munger explained. They lose it because they can't control their impulses. They chase trends, follow crowds, and react to noise. That's not intelligence, Munger insisted. That's animal behavior. Money flows away from people who act emotionally and toward people who act rationally, according to Munger. Another key idea most people never grasp, Munger explained, is opportunity cost. Every dollar you spend today is a dollar that could have been working for you tomorrow. When you understand that, Munger taught, you stop wasting money on things that lose value and start directing it toward things that grow. That's the mental shift from consumer to investor. That shift changes everything, according to Munger. Munger also learned early that you should never delegate your thinking. Too many people hand their money to experts and hope for the best, Munger noted. Hope is not a strategy. You don't have to be an expert, Munger explained, but you do have to be informed. Understand the basics: interest, inflation, risk, and compounding. Those 4 concepts explain 90% of wealth, according to Munger. Most people can't define one of them. You don't need a PhD to understand money, Munger insisted. You just need curiosity and discipline. Read, think, and question everything you're told, Munger advised. If something sounds too good to be true, it is. If someone promises you easy money, it's probably their way of making money off you. The average person becomes financially free not through brilliance, but through understanding, according to Munger. Once you see how money behaves, how it grows, how it shrinks, and how it can quietly multiply for decades, you stop fearing it and start mastering it, Munger explained. That's the first real step toward freedom. One of the most important financial lessons Munger ever learned is this. You'll never become free by working for money alone. You become free when your money starts working for you. Most people never make that shift, according to Munger. They spend their entire lives trading time for income. When the time stops, so does the money. That's not wealth, Munger insisted. That's dependence. When Munger was younger, he worked hard like everyone else. But he also realized early that he couldn't work forever. He needed to find a way to turn the money he earned into something that would earn more without him. That's when Munger started thinking in terms of assets. An asset, according to Munger, is anything that puts money in your pocket while you sleep. A liability is anything that takes money out. Most people spend their whole lives confusing the two, Munger noted. The middle class fills their lives with liabilities, expensive cars, big houses, endless payments. It feels like progress, but it's not, according to Munger. Every new purchase increases the number of hours they have to keep working just to maintain it. They think they're building wealth, but they're really just building a treadmill. Financial freedom begins, according to Munger, when you start converting your earned income into assets, productive things that generate cash flow or appreciate over time. It could be owning a piece of a business, buying shares of great companies, or acquiring real estate that pays you rent. It doesn't matter how small you start, Munger explained. What matters is that you start. When Munger and Warren Buffett bought See's Candies, they weren't just buying a business. They were buying a stream of cash that would keep flowing for decades. The key, Munger emphasized, is to own something that earns while you're not working. The average person, according to Munger, can do the same thing with index funds, dividend stocks, or any productive asset that grows quietly in the background. The beauty of compounding, Munger noted, is that it doesn't care about your salary. It only cares about your discipline. Munger has met plenty of people who earned modest incomes but achieved complete independence. They didn't need millions, Munger explained. They just built assets over time and kept their lifestyle simple. It's not glamorous, but it works. The goal, according to Munger, isn't to impress anyone. It's to escape the need to keep earning just to survive. The shift from consumer to owner, Munger taught, is the turning point in anyone's financial life. The day you realize your money can work harder than you ever could, everything changes. You start thinking longer term. You start caring about returns instead of rewards. You stop measuring success by what you buy and start measuring it by what you own. The truth is, Munger explained, money that isn't working for you is money that's wasting away. Every dollar has a job to multiply. Once you learn to direct your income into assets that grow quietly, you'll find that freedom isn't a dream, according to Munger. It's a mathematical certainty. If you're patient enough to let time do its work, freedom becomes inevitable. If there's one quality that has made Munger and Warren more money than any other, it's emotional control. Staying rational when everyone else is panicking. That's the real edge, according to Munger. You can't control markets, you can't predict the future, Munger explained. But you can control your reactions. That makes all the difference. Most people don't lose money because of bad investments, Munger taught. They lose it because of bad behavior. They buy when prices are high because everyone's excited. They sell when prices are low because everyone's afraid. That's not investing, Munger insisted. That's reacting. The crowd always swings between greed and fear, and the middle class follows it every time, according to Munger. Munger has lived through market crashes, recessions, bubbles, and manias. He's seen people make and lose fortunes in a single year. The one constant Munger has noticed is this: emotion is the enemy of wealth. Every panic looks unique when you're in it, but in reality, it's the same pattern repeating itself. Greed on the way up, fear on the way down, according to Munger. The people who keep their heads through both end up winning, Munger explained, not because they're smarter, but because they're steadier. When Munger was younger, he watched people get wiped out during the Great Depression. Later, he saw the same mistakes during the dot-com bubble, the housing crisis, and every speculative boom since. Human nature doesn't change, Munger noted. People want quick results and can't stand uncertainty. But uncertainty is the price of admission for compounding returns, according to Munger. If you can't handle volatility, you don't deserve growth. Munger and Warren Buffett built Berkshire Hathaway on the idea that you don't have to predict markets. You just have to endure them. They own wonderful businesses. They understand what they own. When everyone else is panicking, they sit still. That's our secret, according to Munger. It's not cleverness. It's composure. It's the ability to do nothing when everyone else is doing too much. For the average person, the same principle applies, Munger explained. If you invest in solid assets, good companies, index funds, productive real estate, your biggest risk isn't the market, Munger insisted. It's you, it's your emotions convincing you to act at exactly the wrong time. Every time you interrupt compounding, you reset your progress. Freedom comes from detachment, according to Munger. It comes from understanding that you don't need to react to every fluctuation. You don't need to check prices every day. You don't need to follow the news like a heartbeat. Let time and discipline do the work, Munger advised. In the short term, markets are a voting machine. In the long term, they're a weighing machine. And patience always wins the weighing, according to Munger. So, if you want to become financially free, master your emotions, Munger instructed. Stay calm when others are greedy and confident when others are afraid. The world rewards those who can keep their heads while everyone else is losing theirs. That's not just a quote, according to Munger. It's a survival strategy. One of the greatest financial skills you can ever learn doesn't involve math, markets, or timing, according to Munger. It's the ability to say no. Munger has probably made more money and avoided more disaster by saying no than by saying yes. Most people think opportunity is about addition, according to Munger, but real success often comes from subtraction. Knowing what not to do, what not to buy, and what not to chase. That's how ordinary people quietly become free, according to Munger. The world will constantly try to sell you something, Munger explained. Every ad, every friend with a can't-miss idea, every bit of financial noise, all of it is designed to push you toward action. But restraint is often your greatest strength, Munger insisted. People lose money not because they miss opportunities, but because they take the wrong ones. They mistake activity for intelligence. Munger has seen it happen his whole life. When Munger was younger, he learned that every yes comes with a cost. When you say yes to one thing, you're saying no to a dozen others, including time, focus, and opportunity, according to Munger. That's called opportunity cost, and it applies to everything. Wealth is built not just by choosing what to pursue, but by ruthlessly eliminating distractions, according to Munger. At Berkshire Hathaway, Munger and Warren Buffett say no far more often than they say yes. They've been pitched thousands of deals, and they reject nearly all of them. Not because they're cynical, Munger explained, but because they know their circle of competence. If we don't understand something completely, we don't touch it. That simple habit, according to Munger, has saved us from ruin more times than he can count. The same principle applies to your personal life and finances, Munger taught. You don't have to chase every trend, buy every upgrade, or jump into every new investment. The discipline to wait for the right moment, according to Munger, is a skill that compounds just like money does. Munger has always said the wise man looks for what he can't afford to lose. Most people do the opposite. According to Munger, they chase what they can't afford to miss. They see others getting rich fast and jump in without thinking. But freedom, Munger insisted, isn't built on reaction. It's built on restraint. The ability to say no gives you control, according to Munger. It protects your time, your capital, and your sanity. Every no you say to impulse and distraction is a yes to compounding and independence, Munger explained. The middle class tries to grab every opportunity that comes their way. The financially free choose carefully. They understand that not everything needs their attention, their money, or their energy. Munger has spent his life saying no to most things. That's exactly why he's had the freedom to say yes to the right ones, according to Munger. Remember this, Munger concluded. Every great fortune, every wise decision, every life of freedom starts with a well-timed no. If there's one truth Munger has come to understand about wealth, it's that compounding doesn't just apply to money. It applies to everything. The same principles that build financial freedom also build wisdom, health, and happiness. Time rewards consistency in every area of life, according to Munger. That's why average people can achieve extraordinary results if they simply learn to stay steady where others quit, according to Munger. Munger often tells people that compounding is the eighth wonder of the world. But it's not just about interest rates and investments. It's about habits, according to Munger. The small things you do repeatedly, the books you read, the people you spend time with, the choices you make when no one's watching, they all accumulate over time. Each decision is like a deposit in an invisible account that pays you later in ways you can't yet see, according to Munger. When Munger was young, he didn't just study business. He studied human nature, psychology, and history. He read every day, not because he was chasing knowledge, but because he knew that wisdom compounds too, according to Munger. Every idea builds on another. Every mistake teaches you something permanent. Over decades, the gap between the learner and the idle man becomes enormous, Munger explained. That's how the world works. Small advantages repeated over long periods of time turn into massive differences in outcome. People underestimate how powerful slow improvement really is, according to Munger. Everyone wants to get rich fast, get fit fast, get smart fast. They want instant results, and when they don't see them, they give up. But compounding punishes the impatient and rewards the disciplined, Munger taught. You don't have to move fast, according to Munger. You just have to keep moving. The same goes for relationships, Munger explained. Who you associate with compounds too. If you surround yourself with rational, honest, hard-working people, their influence elevates you. But if you spend time with fools, you'll eventually pay their tuition, according to Munger. That's a form of compounding. Most people ignore social compounding, Munger noted. You either rise with your circle or sink with it. Even your character compounds, Munger taught. Every time you choose integrity over convenience, discipline over ease, and patience over impulse, you're building a foundation that can't be shaken. Over time, those small choices form a reputation, a confidence, a peace of mind, all of which are worth far more than money, according to Munger. So yes, compounding will make you rich, Munger explained, but not just financially. It will make you wise, respected, and free. Freedom isn't just about money in the bank, according to Munger. It's about having the habits, the discipline, and the clarity to live on your own terms. Munger has spent his entire life watching people chase shortcuts, but the truth is, the slow, consistent path is the only shortcut that exists, according to Munger. Compounding works in wealth, in learning, in relationships, and in life, Munger taught. You don't need to be extraordinary. You just need to keep doing the ordinary things for an extraordinarily long time. After all these years, Munger has realized that financial freedom isn't a mystery. It's a discipline. It doesn't belong to the brilliant or the lucky. It belongs to the ordinary people who do simple things consistently and avoid foolish mistakes for long enough, according to Munger. The formula is old, boring, and it works every single time, Munger promised. Live below your means, save early, invest patiently, stay rational. That's it, according to Munger. Everything else is noise. People spend their lives chasing new tricks and complex strategies. But the truth is, most of success comes from doing the basics well and not quitting when it gets dull, Munger explained. The world rewards endurance. Compounding rewards time. Life rewards patience, according to Munger. But most people are too impatient to let those rewards show up. When Munger looks back, he didn't do anything extraordinary. He just refused to do stupid things. He avoided debt. He didn't waste money on appearances. He kept learning year after year. Eventually, the results took care of themselves, according to Munger. It wasn't magic, Munger insisted. It was math. And it worked because he gave it time. The average person can become financially free by mastering ordinary behavior, not by chasing extraordinary opportunities, according to Munger. Every paycheck is a choice, Munger taught. Consume it now or let it grow into freedom later. Every decision to wait, to save, to say no moves you closer to independence. You don't need millions to live freely, according to Munger. You just need control over your time, your desires, and your habits. Munger has seen people with modest incomes achieve real independence. They didn't envy others. They didn't follow trends. They didn't interrupt compounding. They just stayed steady, according to Munger. That's the entire secret. Staying steady when everyone else loses focus. So if you want to be financially free, Munger advised, don't look for excitement. Look for discipline. Don't try to outsmart the system. Outsmart yourself, your impatience, your greed, your ego. Because once you master those, the rest takes care of itself, according to Munger. Financial freedom, Munger concluded, isn't about escaping work or buying luxury. It's about reaching the point where money no longer dictates your decisions. It's quiet, calm, and deeply satisfying. Anyone, truly anyone, can reach it if they just play the long game, Munger promised. Remember, Munger concluded, you don't need to be extraordinary to do extraordinary things. You just have to stay rational, consistent, and patient long enough for compounding to reward you. That's how ordinary people become free, and that's a truth that will never change, according to Charles Munger.